Welcome to today's webinar. This is a series of webinars that we are hosting at Staria. So this is the fourth we have this spring, and later we will also have AP automation coming up. Today we are happy to be joined by our partner FloQast. So Edward and Matthew from FloQast is here joining us in this webinar, and will present their solutions and what they can help customers with, which is the whole main point of this webinar. And we're very happy and proud to be joined by RELEX and Ilkka from RELEX, one of our customers using the solution. So during the webinar, please post any questions that you may have. We will try to catch them up all in the end of this webinar. And if there's any questions that we wouldn't have time to answer, we will get back to you later with that. So just a few short words about Staria hosting this event. So Staria is a growth company ourselves, and we work with growth companies. So we have been working with growth companies for many years, which also has helped us to grow quite a lot as well. So we know the pains that customers have with international growth. We're doing this with commitment from our end. We work hard to do good projects, successful projects, and we are measuring that throughout. It's also very important for us to have good people joining Staria and staying at Staria, so we work a lot with being the best workplace there is. And more than anything, we work with courage and try. It is daring sometimes to go into these international projects in countries you may not even have heard of, but we do that all the time, and we do it successfully. So Staria is a company that has been working with these kind of issues for many years, and we are very happy and proud to have helped so many companies in their future growth as well. I will not talk that much about Staria anymore. I will just name drop a few things on our successes. So we are the most awarded NetSuite partner in EMEA. There are over 150 partners in that region, so EMEA region, and we've been awarded the Partner of the Year 2 times and been top 4 out of all of EMEA the last 3-4 years. So you are in good hands if you have any NetSuite related questions or want to discuss those kind of topics. But for today's topic, I'm handing over with warm hand to FloQast to present their company and what they can, how they can help CFOs and accounting teams in their daily work. So handing over to you, Edward. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Jimmy. Thanks for the introduction, and thank you everyone for joining us today. As you can see, Ed Shawcross, I lead our strategic alliances for FloQast in EMEA and work specifically with Staria, Jimmy and the rest of the team to collaborate on clients where there's a mutual fit. And Matt Whitley on the right there, one of our account executives, will be taking you through a brief demo of FloQast further into the presentation as well. Throughout, the plan is to go through a high-level introduction to FloQast, bring you up to speed on the solution and where we help teams, introduce you to Ilkka, a client of ours at RELEX Solutions, and hear his experience both before and after FloQast, and then there'll be some times for questions afterwards as well. What is FloQast? FloQast is an accounting workflow automation software. So we work with finance and accounting teams essentially to streamline the month-end close, help teams close faster and more accurately, whilst also providing a central place to track and complete the workflows for all finance teams upstream and downstream of the close process. So tracking payroll, tax, increasingly ESG as well. And finally, providing an internal controls module that allows teams to track and perform their controls processes, procedures alongside those repeatable month-end processes as well. The company was founded in 2013 by 2 ex-CPAs over in the US, and you can see there 70% of our frontline client-facing employees are ex-accountants, auditors as well. Myself and Matt both moved over to FloQast from KPMG, and this is very much testament to our founders' goals to provide a solution that is meeting accounting teams where they typically work. It's easy to adopt, it's flexible to their existing processes, but also provides the added control and structure that's required for that accurate and timely reporting as well. You can see here we have 2,300 customers worldwide. I'll move on to the next slide to show a couple of those. You can see the colored clients here are clients of both Staria and FloQasts, but important to note as well that we are a preferred partner of NetSuite. Some 40% of our client base, so nearly 1,000 customers now, are using FloQast alongside NetSuite. We have a direct API integration with NetSuite and therefore allowing teams to centralize, streamline, and automate some of their close processes and wider workflows alongside the NetSuite ERP system. Finally, before I hand over to Ilkka, some of the use cases or concerns, pain points that we're working with clients to help resolve. So a lot of times teams are looking for greater visibility, accuracy throughout their close processes. They want to reduce that time to close, or perhaps it's a growing team that is looking to create more structured, repeatable processes across the accounting and finance process, as well as improving controls and that control environment to ensure much smoother audits as well. So there's a number of different areas here that we're working with clients to resolve. You can see on the left-hand side, typically helping teams to reduce that time to close by at least 30%, but also leading to cleaner audits, so 25% reduction in audit time, typically as a result of that improved control environment, the repeatable structure we're putting in place, and helping teams to report in a more accurate and timely manner as well. I will pass it off to Ilkka now, who's based at RELEX, team lead for their controlling and invoicing team. But Ilkka, if you want to introduce yourself, and then we can go through the next couple of slides and get into the demo.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. Great last day of May. Hope your spring has been successful. My name is Ilkka Koski. I'm from RELEX Solutions. I started my career at RELEX in September 2021, so about 1.5 years working there. Previously, I was as well an auditor at Deloitte Finland for a couple of years after my graduation from Aalto University School of Business. I studied accounting there, so these topics are familiar and close to my heart, what we are discussing here. Briefly about RELEX. So we are a supply chain planning system. We provide an integrated system for our customer base all around the world to automate and plan their supply chain systems. Our company was founded in 2005 by 3 researchers at the Aalto University of Technology. So we are not that new company, but we have been growing really fast for the last years. Funding base has exceeded over 800 million USDs. Latest round was about a year ago, where we received, I guess it was Series C, the largest one. But a really good base to operate worldwide and to serve our customers in every corner of the world. Company has grown to be quite big, over 1,600 people at the moment, continuing to grow annually. We have entities all over the world, as said. In Finland, we have the parent company, but then we have subsidiaries in pretty much every region you can imagine. Biggest subsidiaries are in the US, UK, Germany, and Italy at the moment. About our finance team, briefly on the right-hand side, if you can go back to the slide, briefly about our stats. So 35 people, roughly 20 people have joined after 2021. So we have been growing a lot, the finance team. We have many core teams, accounting, controlling, which I'm the team lead of, then invoicing, usual business controlling / FP&A and other supporting finance teams. So there are many people who are using FloQast and NetSuite and the accounting help of Staria on a monthly basis. Our fintech stack includes indeed NetSuite as our ERP, and then we have the FloQast system on top of that, with a couple of other supporting financial systems as well. Our company's challenge, why we have been using FloQast for over a year now, is to increase the financial velocity and accuracy of the accounting. As I said, the team has grown quite a lot during the past 2 years. We have been pretty slow to complete the monthly accounting, so 25 days to close currently, but we are improving that on a monthly basis. We have a project in place to increase the or increase the pace that we are closing the books. We have external accounting providers. As I mentioned, Staria is helping with us in many accounting areas, but what we have in the group accounting or group wide, we have stored in the parent company. We have the group accounting and revenue related accounting journals are done in parent company level. I mentioned that we have entities worldwide, so just to be precise, we have 18 subsidiaries all over the world, which are then reporting to the parent company. The challenge why we chose FloQast is, you can see the 5 key points on the right. The visibility for everyone to see where we are at on a monthly basis. If you can go, Edward, back. Yeah, thanks. The visibility for our management team to see where we are at the close phases. Previously, we didn't have any month closing system because people were limited, the quantity of people were limited, so it was easier to communicate, but nowadays it's harder. That speaks to the collaboration part. FloQast is really intuitive in using it. There's definitely advantages when we are working remotely to have this kind of system where we can do the reviews, send notes, and do automatic reconciliations. As I mentioned, we are using NetSuite, so the flexibility of FloQast is that we can connect NetSuite and FloQast so that everything that is shown in NetSuite can be seen in FloQast in a way that we don't have to upload any documents to another software on a daily basis or weekly basis. Automation is a big thing. Many of the tasks we are doing are manual, since we are basically chasing the business's growth in the finance department. We need to be able to automate things, and that's where both Staria and FloQast are helping us to find ways to automate different areas of accounting. And finally, the performance, as I mentioned, it's really easy to follow the progress on a monthly basis and then identify the bottlenecks, since we can see what kind of tasks cause delays in our streams, in our accounting streams.
Appreciate the background there, Ilkka, and definitely going to be useful as we jump into the system shortly to give the viewers some insight into how we've helped Ilkka and the RELEX team achieve that. I guess, Ilkka, just before we jump into the demonstration, you mentioned there are a number of different entities, a growing team over the past couple of years. How were you previously tracking the month-end close, performing those repeatable processes alongside NetSuite? Was that primarily Excel-based? What did that process look like prior to bringing FloQast in?
Before FloQast, it was Excel, if any. So different people had their own Excels. There weren't that many shared reports of the month close. So when the team was smaller, it was easier to kind of, when one person was doing more tasks, it was easier to message to other people that, okay, I have closed this. But nowadays there's increased risk of miscommunication if we would continue the same way as before.
Brilliant. Useful to understand, and again, really highlights that need as teams continue to grow and perhaps they're working across multiple entities. The visibility and structure that FloQast is looking to bring is essentially designed to be an easy to adopt flexible solution that can take those existing processes but then overlay the control and accuracy that's required to close faster, but also with confidence over the accuracy of those figures at every month end as well. I will pass it over to Matt now. Matt, if you want to give you a quick introduction to yourself, and then we can jump into the demonstration.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks, Ed. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. I'm Matt. I work on the sales team here at the London office, been at the company for around 1.5 years. And as Ed said in the introduction, I'm a previous auditor at KPMG as well, which is a very common theme here across FloQast, founded by ex-Big Four auditors, and yeah, really have ex-accountants and auditors across all parts of the company. So hopefully you can all see my screen now, and you'll see FloQast on that. I can see a few nods, which is great. So we're in FloQast, so we'll start the demo. If there are any questions, please feel free to pop them into the chat bot as well, and I'll do my best to address them. First thing you'll see is FloQast is a purely web-based application. So I have access through my Google Chrome browser. You can access it through the browser of your choice. And where we're starting today for this quick tour on the system is in the All Workflows dashboard. So this is what we call FloQast Ops. So whilst one of the key elements of the system is to really improve the financial close process, we understand that you can't close the books in isolation. So there are going to be a number of other accounting and finance processes that have a direct impact on the close. So we've built FloQast in a way that allows you to track all of those accounting operations. So basically anything that falls across the office of the CFO can be tracked within here. So you can see we have our close dashboards and our insights, but we've also built in workflows for the likes of compliance, FP&A. As I drop down here, you can see other possibilities such as payroll processing, reporting, but the list is endless. They're fully customizable workflows. So anything that you would like to track within the system and bring everything into one place, you're able to do that here. You can also get a really nice view across the team as well. So if you're overseeing or managing the team, or simply a team member that wants to understand what you have on your plate every day, you can see a calendarized view of all of the tasks that you're responsible for, both in the close process, but across the wider accounting and finance processes as well. But from here, then we can drill into a specific dashboard. So if we focus on the close itself today, I can hop into the close dashboard here. And this is taking us into our all entities close dashboard. So just like Ilkka was describing, a lot of our customers will be, multinational, multi-entity companies. And this is a really useful insight for them at the click of a button to understand how much of the close has been completed across all of those entities. So you can see here we're 33% of the way through. So we've got a bit of work to do in the demo account. We should be at 95% right now. So it's going to be a late one for the accounting team to get the books closed because we're running a bit late. But giving you those real-time insights, and then it breaks it down in a bit more detail. So how many of the checklist tasks have been prepared and reviewed, and also how many of those reconciliations have been prepared, reviewed, and most importantly, how many of them are actually tying out and agreeing back to our trial balance, giving us comfort over the accuracy of those numbers. If you wanted to, you could get this exact view across any of your individual entities as well. So if you were just an accountant responsible for the UK entity, this level of dashboarding. But from within here, we can then flip into the timeline. And this is going to give you more insights into when the tasks are falling due, what's running late. So you can see now we've broken this out by multiple entities, and you get that calendarized view again, showing you which tasks in the month end close are falling due. And then we can go a layer further, and let's say the focus of today was to close up the United Kingdom entity. As you go deeper in there, it breaks it out by sub-process. So when we're setting FloQast up for you, we'll actually take your chart accounts, your trial balances across your entities, and we'll map them into the system to really make FloQast look and feel as it should, specific to your company and specific to your accounting needs. So you can see here it's been broken out by balance sheet sub-process, again showing you the tasks that are due in each of them. And let's say that you're responsible for accounts payable. So this is where you would perform those more, those day-to-day activities. You could click into the accounts payable folder. this will take us into the folders tab. And this is the most detailed view within FloQast. This is ultimately where the accounting teams will spend most of their time performing the day-to-day activities, and it's the work performed in here that feeds up to the dashboards that we were just looking at. So FloQast will provide you with a really nice, clear structure for your close process. So the entity that you're working in, the year, the month, all the way down to that sub-process that you're responsible for. And then it's split into 3 sections, which I'll walk through in a bit of detail in a moment, but just to give you an idea of the workflow, you have the checklist at the top, setting out the steps that need to be completed. The document section, so this is actually where we'll integrate with your instance of cloud storage, be that OneDrive, Google Drive, SharePoint. You know, we integrate with all of the main cloud providers, and this is where we can bring in your documents all into one place. And that then feeds down to the reconciliation process itself, which we'll touch upon, where we can actually integrate directly with your trial balance to pull the numbers in real time, but also integrate directly with the supporting documentation in Excel to build in layers of control and give you comfort over the accuracy. But if we start at the top here with the checklist, very user-friendly, really easy to use. It's been designed in such a way, and it's free-form text here. So you may have, just as Ilkka was describing, before FloQast, RELEX were using those Excel-based checklists, sending them around, saving them on probably different shared drives and things like that, and people filling them in manually. If your team currently has a closed checklist that you use in Excel, we're able to lift that in and build that into the system directly. But then we're also flexible and able to continue to build out your process within FloQast simply by adding steps. So you'll have your description, setting out what you need to do, and then we'll build in that layer of control here. So you have clear segregation of duties between who's responsible for preparing that task and who's responsible for reviewing it, with the assigned deadlines next to them. So you can see here, I'm responsible for this task. I'll come in, I can perform my work. Once I'm happy that it's done, I can hit the sign off button. And this is where we move from maybe an existing state of that static manual checklist in Excel flow tool that's really communicating across your entire team. So as soon as I hit that sign off button, it will leave a clear audit trail, so a time and date stamp of who completed the task and when. And then Hugh, my reviewer, will actually receive a real-time notification letting him know that I've completed my task and it's ready for review. As a preparer, I'm able to leave all of my documents here, so I can actually attach them to the task, making Hugh's life that much easier when he comes in and everything is within one place. And when he's going through his review, if he has any comments or review notes for any of the ex-auditors on the line here, he's able to do that as well. So he can leave his comments to me, and then I can hop back in and reply and address those. And those direct integrations can either be sent to you by email, or we've built in direct integrations with both Microsoft Teams and Slack. So if that's where you're communicating every day across the team, we can ping you where the accountants are working. We do also have a built-in compliance management module. We won't necessarily touch upon that today, but if you do have risk control matrix that you wanted to layer in on top of existing tasks, you'd be able to do that here as well. So giving you that holistic approach across both the day-to-day tasks in the close, leading into your internal control process. As I continue to scroll down, you'll also see here that we've built in something called Remind. So for certain tasks, there's a need to request the same data month over month, quarter over quarter, asking for maybe invoices from vendors or information from other departments. We've actually built an automated Remind function into the checklist, which allows you to create a templated email, select who that will be going out to every month or every quarter, and then you'll be able to send that automatically. So FloQast will actually do the end-to-end data gathering for you, just taking some of that more manual administrative work off your plate. But then as we come down to the document section, as I said, this is where we'll integrate with cloud storage. So this is where we'll actually pull in the supporting Excel reconciliation files that the team are working on. You can see they're all hyperlinked here. And the way that we do that is by setting up that integration in your folders. So we'll set up a folder structure, which you'll see coming on the screen now, which mirrors what you have in FloQast. So that entity all the way down to the sub-process in the month you're trying to close. And then there you have your 4 Excel files saved in the correct place. So as long as the team are saving them in the cloud storage folder, they will be pulled through to FloQast. And then you'll see we're actually starting to pull through some of the balances here. from those Excel files, which leads us onto our reconciliations. So we do have two approaches to reconciliations. The one that I'll focus on today is that automation of the tick and tie process between the trial balance and Excel. But we also have a built-in matching module called AutoRec, which can perform end-to-end automation for some of those more high volume, transaction heavy reconciliations. But if we start here, you have this per trial balance column. So this number is coming directly from your ERP, the trial balance in the ERP. We are ERP agnostic, but as Ed mentioned, we're a preferred partner of NetSuite, and around 40% of our customers are on NetSuite as well as FloQast, pulling in the balance directly through an API integration. But then we also have the Excel balance coming in from the supporting reconciliation, which allows us to automatically tick and tie between the supporting document and the ERP. So you can see how much of a difference there is. Then you have the same built-in segregation of duties in terms of a preparer and a reviewer, with exactly the same dynamic sign-off, leaving that clear audit trail. But of course, in accounting, whilst the difference is zero there, hopefully it always will be. We know in accounting, unfortunately, it won't be. So you are able to build in a few layers of controls here. So firstly, you can build in materiality thresholds. So you could set your materiality here, and if it was greater than that threshold, you would not be able to sign off within FloQast until you resolved it. But secondly, if the difference is zero today, great, you can come in, you can sign it off, you can review it. But what happens if someone posts an adjusting journal tomorrow? What if someone goes into the Excel and deletes a number? That balance will change, and it's quite difficult then for the accounting team to always keep checking and duplicating their efforts trying to find that movement. So through our direct integration with Excel, we're able to act as a detective control for you automatically. So you can see here, all we've done is add this hashtag FQ to the Excel sheet with the unique identifying code of 2000 being the trial balance code. That will then pull the ending balance from the cell to the left into the FloQast system. So that's where the 701,000 is coming from. But if something was to change within FloQast, so let's say I came in and I decided that this number was about to change, so I delete the 25,000. I can save that down. That's now saving back to my cloud storage in real time. As I hop back to FloQast, you can see currently the difference is zero. It's been signed off, but I'll refresh that. So by refreshing it, it's live in the ERP, in the trial balance, it's live in the Excel, and within the matter of seconds, FloQast has caught that movement. So you can see here the difference is now 25,000. It's greater than my materiality threshold, which means my sign-off has been suspended. Both myself and my reviewer will receive an automatic notification to let us know that something has changed and we need to go back into the system, back into the reconciliations and get an understanding of what's happened. So really building in that automation and communication across the team, but as well as then building in those strong internal controls. From within here then, just to round out the demo, you do have central views for both the checklist and the reconciliations. So of course there we were just looking at one specific reconciliation in a view across all of your reconciliations. You can come into this central view tab and see them at the click of a button. So I can see all of my recs here for the UK entity or across the group if I wanted to. And then at the click of a button, maybe I just want to know where are the problem areas, what's unreconciled. I can come in here and straight away at the click of a button see everything that's not tying out. So we can prioritize those areas. But then in terms of actually understanding where we can get better, I know Ilkka was talking about that, really wanting to improve on the time it was taking them to close. You can hop into the analytics view. And this is where we'll round out on the demo, just to give you that final holistic view across the process. You can come in, see the progress across all of your entities. So how much of the process have we completed against the deadlines that we set? So you can see here, the French entity are all on time, they're doing great, but it's probably time to get on the phone to Australia and Brazil and understand where the holdups are. But you're also able to go into specific entities as well. So you can take a look at a specific entity and understand where we're at, break it down in a bit more detail, looking across the folders view and understanding what we've completed and where the late items are, as well as then understanding the trends. So I think, like Ilkka was talking about, for growing companies, processes change, and it's often difficult to understand exactly where those bottlenecks are. FloQast will actually point them out to you automatically. So you can take a look at your historic performance in the close. So how long has it taken us over the past year to close our books? But where are the issues? What's holding us up? What's stopping us achieving our goals and hitting our deadlines? So FloQast will show you the reoccurringly late checklist items, as well as the reoccurringly late reconciliations, pinpointing how often they've been late and on average by how many days. So this will allow you to really have a focused view on your process from start to finish and really prioritize trying to get better in these areas, which are the main pain points. But that gets us to time on the demo. Appreciate it was a quick tour through the system, but if you do have any questions, of course, please say, and happy to address them on the rest of the call. But thanks very much for your time there.
Thank you, Matt, for the demo. Again, was a whistle-stop tour, but if there are questions, please pop them in the chat, or we're happy to reach out and address them after this call as well. If there's interest to see a more detailed demo and speak more specifically to your specific needs or requirements, we can also set those up as and when they may be too. So we've talked about, what FloQast is offering, the use cases, problem areas we're helping to solve, and heard from Ilkka on his experience to date. For this final part of the webinar, I think plan to go through what the typical ROI looks like for a customer using FloQast, and also hear from Ilkka on how this relates to his experience. So we can see here it's broken out into 4 main categories. So we have time savings, obviously looking to help teams reduce that time to close. The analytics piece at the end that Matt showed there is key in identifying those recurring late items, but then also the visibility and centralization of processes as well naturally helps to bring that down, as well as increasing accuracy. So by adding controls to the process, documenting a full audit trail within FloQast, we're able to help increase the accuracy of the financial data, but also reduce discrepancies throughout audits as well. And then big piece on the right, efficiency and effectiveness. So providing visibility into the processes that are being completed on a monthly basis, helping teams to spend less time in status meetings and more time on value-add tasks, really helping to generate that workload balance, but also an efficient, repeatable process as well. That's enough from me, but I guess Ilkka, from what we're showing here and the stats on the screen, are there any specific areas that jump out for you and for your team as how FloQast have helped RELEX since the implementation?
Definitely the automatic reconciliation is one main part of that. Since we are using the help of Staria, a lot of work is done on Staria's end as well, but we have the true visibility and transparency between the reconciliations, and we can follow on and then follow up if there are any discrepancies and differences. Since we are closing the books a bit faster nowadays than before, so definitely FloQast has been helpful in that, even though we are of course taking baby steps there, but FloQast we have been identifying the bottlenecks, which usually takes most of the time, and then we have rearranged the tasks within the bigger team currently, so that we can have more time on the people who usually have bottlenecks and are late in their tasks. Audit is actually one that we were able to, for the parent company and group level, we were able to get the audit faster, as well as we were able to provide faster the materials to subsidiary auditors as well. So using the OneDrive or the shared drive folder between us and Staria through FloQast, it was really easy to move on documents from one person to another, and then kind of reduce the amount of or quantity of emails back and forth.
That's useful to understand, and you've actually stolen my next question there, Ilkka, which was going to be, how has FloQast helped benefit your audit process? So I'll skip that one, but I guess in terms of hybrid and remote working teams. You mentioned at the top of the presentation, obviously RELEX has subsidiaries across different geographies. What have been the biggest benefits from FloQast that have helped you to manage those teams, but also complete the close across multiple different locations?
There are a couple of parts. So that everyone knows where we are at the month close. It's transparent for everyone. The dashboard view is the same for every user. So people can see where we are at, where they might be able to help. And then there's also that when we have finance team members around the world, they feel more part of the team as well. So there's that like emotional part as well. So that when they are working in the same system, they are having the same views. So that's something that is also helping us to improve our finance processes, since we are feeling as more of a complete team than individuals working remotely in our own homes.
Absolutely, and I mentioned previously the centralization and visibility that the FloQast platform is providing for geographically dispersed teams as well. And I think Matt touched on it in the demo with the connection to NetSuite and the connection to your Excel-based workbooks. Those updates in either system are reflected in real time within FloQast. So whenever there's teams working across different time zones, perhaps they're able to then see, and I think you mentioned that there, Ilkka, they're able to see at any given point throughout the close process the status of their items, but also the broader team's items as well, and what's outstanding and waiting to be completed. Final question before we move into the questions from the wider group. In terms of digitizing the close process and reducing manual workloads, you mentioned there obviously automation of reconciliations was a piece that's helped contribute to reducing the time to close. Is there anything else around the broader close process that's helped in terms of tracking workflows and automating some of the more tedious manual tasks?
One of the key things and one of the main things that I really like about FloQast is the review functionality and the ability to follow certain tasks, so that I get automatic comments from the reviewer of my work when they have been reviewing that, if they have any notes, and I can follow on some other tasks in the system, and it automatically gives me a pop-up in my Teams as I have synchronized my Microsoft Teams to the FloQast, that I can start doing my own tasks because this one person prepared the stuff that I need. So that has helped a lot to digitize the process. I don't have to be in calls or send emails or send even Teams chats. I just know that something is ready for me to go and do my own tasks.
Yep, and that reminds me something we didn't mention in the demo previously. So FloQast will integrate directly with NetSuite and other ERP systems. We'll integrate directly with Excel and the cloud-based storage provider to build out that file structure, but we'll also integrate directly with Microsoft Teams and Slack. As Ilkka mentioned there, what that allows is for items that have been prepared and signed off in FloQast, the person responsible for review will automatically be notified that that work is ready for them to complete. And similarly, as Matt described and showed us, if an item falls out of balance, we'll then get that notification to say that it needs to be re-reviewed as well. So streamlining that communication, removing the need for emails and status meetings back and forth.
One part that I can praise the FloQast team here, of course, is the implementation part. That was really quick, and what we especially needed and liked was the best practice policies or the workflows that you provided to us, since we had these scattered tasks in people's own OneDrive folders, in their own Excel sheets, in their mind, because everything wasn't written out. So that was really beneficial when we started to use the FloQast.
That's again useful timing, Ilkka. There's a question I've just seen here from the wider group. What does a typical FloQast implementation look like? And again, we can go back to your point there, but typically FloQast is up and running within 6 weeks. And all of that process is managed by our in-house team of technical consultants and account support managers who are ex-accountants and ex-auditors themselves, similar to Matt and I. So as Ilkka mentioned, we'll provide best practice templates, we'll help the team to map their folder structure within FloQast, and then we're able to deliver that much quicker ROI and get the team up to speed in closing in FloQast far quicker than the likes of a number of our competitors as well. Ilkka, is there anything else you wanted to add there in terms of implementation?
Not in terms of implementation. What I just like to see, I'm the main user of FloQast in our finance team, and I get emails about new product launches, as well as there are usually new best practice workflows added for us to explore as well and to discuss internally. And that's something that has been useful, at least in our instance.
Yeah, and when we think perhaps linked to that beyond the first implementation itself, again, FloQast will provide an accounting success manager to every client that's using the system, who is responsible for managing and helping ensure the team is getting the most out of the system, helping to update processes, build out best practice checklists, and make sure they're fully utilizing the system throughout as well. And that's all covered within our first one-time implementation fee to really ensure that continued success and user adoption. Final question that I just wanted to answer here as well before we let you carry on with the afternoon. There's a question here: what makes FloQast stand out from our competitors, or how are we different from our competitors, I guess is the question. The main points to touch on here is it's a similar end goal as the likes of Blackline and Adra, but with a different approach of getting there. And the main difference from a functionality point is our integration with Excel. So as Matt showed us, we're able to integrate with the rec workbooks that teams are typically using and where teams are familiar working on a monthly basis. We're then overlaying that control and segregation of duties on top of that to make you confident in the numbers that you're reporting on. And as a result, instead of taking up that web form-based approach that the likes of Blackline and Adra will use, we're able to see much faster user adoption and much higher user adoption rates as a result of that lesser change management requirement and providing a solution that is somewhat more familiar to accountants and finance teams. I think that's the main point from a functionality perspective. I mentioned the timeline to implement, again, a USP for us and very different from the competitors in the market, being able to get teams up to speed. Perhaps they're looking to build a repeatable, scalable process. Perhaps they have a strict reporting deadline that's been instilled from a new CFO or from the board. We're able to deliver that value in typically 6 weeks, as I say, for implementation, which is a big differentiator again. And finally, to round out, we're tracking the close processes. We're able to track the broader finance workflows and also compliance and controls within FloQast as well. So one central process and system to complete all of those. I think that brings us up to time for today. Appreciate everybody joining. The other questions or additional questions that come up, we're more than happy to answer. We can set up additional calls or personalized demos. If there is interest, feel free to reach out to us. We'll follow up after the session with the slides and recording. But given it's 1:45, I think that's everything for today, and appreciate Ilkka, you joining, Matt for the demo, and Jimmy for hosting this as well. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.